Hello, everybody. This is a new series that I was going to do. My original plan was to call it Critical Vole. But Critical Vole is too good of a name for something that's actually criticizing something. So I won't actually do that. So I've decided to call it VOLEHAMMER 40K. Yep. This is about world building. And I want to show like a technique I use to make stories that go into comics, and also just a technique that is being shown elsewhere on YouTube as well. I actually spent this afternoon kind of looking around at at some other people that are doing this, and this is about using a what's called a solo role-playing game type technique. Now I'm going to use the actual Mythic GM emulator, but you can find other people using more homegrown techniques, or no technique at all, or no specific guideline book at all. They just have their own techniques. And I'll put a couple of links in the description of this video so you can check them out. And also, just a bit of a preamble. This is really, I'm showing some role-playing games. This is actually a miniatures game right here. This is a Heavy Blitz. I just got it this weekend. And this is Mutant Crawl Classics, which is a Goodman Games sort of Gamma World-esque type of game. And I make comics, and I'm on this big quest that you may already know about me, to get 1,000 pages done in comics. And it's really tough. I average, this year I think I'm up to 150 or more pages. Actually, let me look. I'm going to look it up on my spreadsheet, because if you've been following my other stuff, I just finished drawing page 9. That's usually just drawing it is enough for me to put it on my list. Comic tracking worksheets. Let me open this comic tracking worksheet up. I'm around 150 pages for this year, and I'm around 646 all time since I've been counting, since 2019. And when I say since I've been counting, it really is all time for me, because while I've been drawing my entire life, I haven't been making comics until 2019, and I started out doing it, and then I went back, and I've been tracking ever since, and I've got a spreadsheet, and I go through everyone else. Okay, so I can actually tell you, my spreadsheet finally opened up. I am at, it's not as high as I thought. It's 138 for the year. It is 650 for the grand total. That's really good to me. I'm only 350 away. That to me feels like 2.5 years away till I hit 1,000 pages. And what I'm calling my 1,000-page goal, even though I know that the goal is, you don't magically level up at 1,000 pages in reality. But that 1,000 pages goal, to me, what that represents is a self-apprenticeship, right? Okay, so here I am hacking away at pages. You're thinking, okay, no big deal. This guy's hacking away at pages. But if you're another comic person, you're thinking, okay, that's kind of tough to do, because you have to come up with your own story if you're going to make comics. Unless you're married to or live with or best friends with somebody who's writing your pages, you have to do those yourself. And you can see these are some of my comics. You can see there's quite a few, and each one of these is a stack too. So there's each one of these has pages stacked in there, and it's lots and lots of pages here. How am I doing it? Well, the way I'm doing it is I've been involved with role-playing games since 1978. I've been involved with Dungeons and Dragons, and of course all of my comics are about heroic adventure. Stories, of course, can be anything, and comics can be anything. You could have, slice of life, or rom-com type comics, or romance, or science fiction, or social commentary type comments too. For me, though, none of that matters. I really only care about heroic fiction and mythology, and heroic adventure and mythology are kind of my things. And here's Rabbit Fighter, what we're working on right now. And I'm going to do another video today where I start inking this page right here. Actually, let me make sure that page is even coming in, looking at it on the monitor. Oh, not this page. This is the one right here. Is the other one. Okay, that's the one I settled on. And actually, let me go to another page, one with more panels. Let's start with this one right here. It's got 3 panels. And let me open this up. Like this and then like that. When you're looking at comics, when you're looking at just even a single panel, let's just take one that's a single panel. This is one big panel right here. The panel is a story. What's the story here? Well, we can see the characters looking over the edge, and it looks dangerous, or there's a strange swirling maelstrom in the back. Pretend there's not even any words here. We can tell that there's a story here. And then when we sort of look at a page of panels, this guy's looking with his binoculars out here. There's some commentary. They're walking away, and we can see that there's floating islands. And then we can see the positions are kind of reversed, where this dominant, larger character is now the supporting character as this guy says something. The page is also a story. So the panel's a story, and then the page is a story. And then you take all the pages and you put them together. What do you get? You get another story. So it's like a fractal. What if you take all of the issues? If I were to go back through and say, where's some of my issues? Some of my many issues. Let's see. How about this one? I think this Isolt one might have it. Maybe. No, it's just what it is. Nope. If you take all of the issues of a series, though, there's an Isolt, there's an Isolt, there's an Isolt, right? All of those together, and you put those together, you get a series. But what is a series? A series is just another story. It's just a larger story, longer and with more chapters. So you have to constantly be kind of creating these things. And one of the ideas that I use is I use games. I also use video games too. Video games are a great place to have a story. The best video games are the ones that don't have the story already. Which means Guild Wars 2 sucks for doing this. Although I enjoyed Guild Wars 2, or I did last year. It's got too much story there. It wants really badly to make you follow along with the story that the game designers created, not the one of your own character. A better one would be Diablo. I think Diablo is a much better example. Even Super Mario is a better example. Just because, you know, as these events are taking place, you're experiencing them and you're overcoming them, and maybe you're using, hopefully, your creativity and your imagination to overcome them. And, you know, it kind of creates a story. So the way the Mythic GM emulator works, and I have a hard copy of it, but I don't know where it is, unfortunately. I couldn't tell you exactly where I've put it. It says go ahead and use the game and just make your characters or whatever. As in the procedures outlined in the book, and make the setting. The setting is great in Mutant Call Classics because there's no real defined setting. It's just this crazy post-apocalyptic world. It's very much like D&D that way. D&D is, of course, the ultimate great example because D&D could be anything. You could have D&D, you know, medieval times. You could have D&D in the Dark Sun Desert. You know, it's whatever kind of setting you create for it. You could even do like Forgotten Realms, where every single country is a different sort of microcosm of D&D. And what's the word cosm mean? Cosm means world. The cosmos is the world of worlds. So that's what I've done here, and I highly recommend getting one of these classic Trapper Keeper notebook. Keeping it real. And I made some characters. All right, because I'm keeping it real. And right here, I've made characters, which is according to the procedures in the book. And I don't know if you can see them very well because, unfortunately, in order to be in theme, I did them with fluorescent pink ink because just for fun. But I made 4 guys. This is Burke. He's a mutant hunter. He's got a lodestone, like a magic rock, basically a magnet. He's got a stone tip spear and a flint dagger. He's a mutant, but he only he's just kind of warped. Oh, the other thing is, just particular with this game, is that the mutants evolve over time to have more mutations, but the humans don't. And then I have another mutant. This is a red-haired or red-skinned mutant who is another hunter. So I got 2 hunters. By the way, these guys are really primitive. This is like caveman kind of guys. So that's Sekmail and Burke. And then Zoog is a plantient, which is a mutant plant. And he's a gatherer, based on a tree-like character. And then Krogon is a pure strain human, so he's not mutated. Actually, he's immune to mutation, in fact. And he is also a hunter. So 3 hunters and a gatherer. And the gatherer is the plant guy. So that's pretty good, right? We used the game system and we came up with characters. So as a character story, now you need a setting. So I actually just drew this myself. I enjoy making maps, but there's a million resources you could use to make maps, or you don't need to make a map. You can go online and find a map, or find a map generator. In this case, I just sort of, out of my imagination, I made a map, and it's got a couple of areas. It might be hard to read on the video, but these are rad zones, and it looks like they're bomb craters almost. There's some ruins in the middle here called the Jericho Ruins and the Anachuapa Ruins. And I've got a village here in the forest near a lake, the trail. Oh, there's a lake over here. Yeah, it's 2 lakes actually. So plenty of water. I've got a village up here off of this river, and I've got this Guadaran village over here. So I've got a couple of villages and ruins, and so now I've got a setting. I also made a key for my village map and all these things. This would all be great if we were playing the game, which we're not. This is not what we're going to do. We're actually going to try and make a story. So using Mythic, you have to try and also figure out what's missing. What do we do with all this stuff? First of all, we need to develop our characters into, for comics, we need to create them visually, which means we need to draw pictures of them. So let's, we could draw them right on the character sheet. That might be fun. Let's start with this Zoog guy, the Plantian. That's the most interesting one, the plant guy. Oh, a little bit about this game too. Although we don't have to follow every silly thing in the game, because it's your story. This game supposes that the characters will be really low level, and that that 3 out of 4 of the ones you make will die. So so maybe this is a story of the sole survivor of whatever story we create, or maybe we don't have them all die off. But it's hard to say. But they are very weak. They're low hit points, low armor class. Zoog here, the plant guy, only has 1 hit point, and a strength of 8. But other than that, we're assuming that they have, as we're doing with any kind of story, we're assuming that they have, human level mobility and, intelligence. Well, that's a stat, right? So intelligence here is 11. So Zoog is of average intelligence, while Sekmail has an intelligence of 14. Smarter than average. That's the one with the red skin. And I think it's kind of fun to rather than do it digitally, I'm just going to draw them with pencil right here. Old school role-playing games are the best for this. Dungeons and Dragons, this is my Holmes blue cover rulebook. There's no setting. It doesn't really tell you how to play. I mean, it tells you how to play, but it doesn't really tell you much. Traveler is a great example. But once we get our 4 heroes, this is our 4 protagonists anyways, into place, does that make it a story? No, we still have to come up with side characters, enemies, what's the premise, all that other stuff. I'm just going to draw the one guy, then we're going to jump right to the next part. And Zug is very tree-like, almost like Groot, kind of. A plantant. Oh, and by the way, once you finish one of these things, you don't have to tell anybody that it's from a role-playing game if you don't want to. I usually just say. So, for example, Simpleton is one of my D&D characters, and Slink the Killer is one of my D&D characters. There's literally a game for every genre, just about, in terms of heroic fiction or picaresque. But here's our plant guy. Let's zoom in on him a little bit. Okay, whoops. He needs a spear, though. Let's give him, he's got a, does he have a spear? You know what, he doesn't. He just has flint daggers. Let's give him a dagger. I was always kind of fascinated by tales of the early prehistory figures that would have stone axes and stone daggers and stuff like that. So it's got a chert dagger. I don't know if I like his eyes like that. Almost like them better when they were just big empty bowls. He's got a leather sack, a flint dagger, a water skin, and a leather rucksack. One of the channels that I was looking at today was, I think her name is Geeks Gamers, but I'll put the link to it. One of the things that she likes to do is give each character a thing, give them something that you found just by randomly paging through one of the books. So, for example, if we had, oh, I don't know, Mutant Crawl Classics in front of me. Where'd it go? I've lost track of it. So here it is. You know, I might page through here again. Hang on, let's raise this up again. This is the judge's screen, by the way. Just randomly page through here and find something that stands out. It could even be just another picture. And just give them something. Mutant Crawl Classics also, it gives you a starting equipment table, which I think I've already done. That's right, I gave them their stuff. It's all over here. So, what does the story with 3 hunters and a gatherer even look like? That's when you have to start brainstorming. So let's get a piece of paper. Once again in my, whoops, old school Trapper Keeper here. And this is, I was setting this key up for like a, what's called a hex crawl. We're going to put something random in every square. let's talk about the world. It's post-apocalyptic, and it's I don't know. Just look at the art. There's robots and mutant animals and ruins everywhere. Insects and plants. I think a good danger would be something in the ruins, which could be a monster. It could be radiation. There used to be kind of a comic called Mighty Samson, done by Dell. That's a good example. Instead of a monster, we could have a human or mutant warlord. Right? That's the Mad Max kind of solution. And this one seems like the most interesting one, because then you have to introduce a villain, right? Why are we have just 4 characters, and 3 of them are human or humanish because they're mutants, but one of them's a plant. And also, why are they so low level? I was thinking of having them be from one of the villages as established on my map. And it could be maybe this village or that village. Maybe it's this village. No, this is the closest village to the ruins, I think. And let's brainstorm some ideas. Okay, so we have these 4 kind of neophyte hunters with 1 gatherer, and they're hunting in the forest. So it's a hunting expedition. We'll write that down. And they're separated because they're neophytes. They were from the more experienced hunters. Maybe there was a leader, the more experienced hunter. Let's have 1 guy. So we have to come up with someone from the village that was guiding them, who ends up separated from them. So their leader. Let's say it's a scout. And we'll come up with a name. The scout is either killed, captured, or separated, or he betrays them somehow, or something. And it's just the 4 of them alone, and they come out into the ruins, which is where I think something interesting happens. So that's our brainstorm right now, is we have our survival party, hunting gathering, separated from their leader, and what's the danger, right? Well, it could be the same danger that the leader faced. It could be, he's just picked off by some random monster, or some mutant vine comes down and just strangles him or something like that. But that doesn't seem to work. It has to be a kickoff event. Now there's this other thing that you may have heard of. It's called the Dan Harmon story cycle. And it's one that I like to use. And I'll have to look up all the different pieces of it, because I only know the start. I think it's 6 or 8, but it starts out with the zone of comfort. You guys familiar with this? And then the character wants something. Let me see. Let me make sure I'm getting all the different steps right. And then something happens. I want to make sure I get all the pieces. It is 8 steps. Okay. That's what I thought. Yeah. Zone of comfort. They want something. Unfamiliar situation. They have to adapt. They have to get what they wanted. And this could be abstract. It could be like they get their freedom. But the next one is they have to pay a heavy price. And are therefore changed. And then they have to return to familiarity, but having changed. And I wonder if this last one is this 2 steps or is this 1? They return to familiarity having changed. It has to be an ending. And it's the same with comics. You still have to, you can't just do like a comic and just, they went from zone of comfort and then they want something and then they're in an unfamiliar situation and adapt. I've seen comics that just do zone of comfort, that where nothing happens. The joke that I used to make was from a real comic. There's a comic that was floating around out there, and it was like 4 pages of just a character making ceviche, and it just shows them like chopping the vegetables and talking on the phone. And this was supposed to give us a sense of that character's life, I guess. But man, that's boring. Right? So in this case, what's our zone of comfort for our hunter-gatherers? Well, the zone of comfort in this case is that this is a routine gathering mission. Let's stress routine. And they even have somebody responsible, right? The scout that we've established, that we have to create a name for and a character sheet for, which I don't have yet. This is where maybe 3 out of the 4 are hunters, right? So maybe they see some kind of prey, tempting prey, or it could be an artifact. It could be some kind of they see something shiny or something like an artifact, or the silvery metal reflective skin of a destroyed robot, and they're like, we should bring that back to the village or something. But they see something tempting. I'm thinking it has to be either prey or an artifact, one of the 2. And the unfamiliar situation has to be where our scout is killed or captured. And I'm hedging towards killed because I want the story to be about these 4 guys, not about the scout. The scout is a secondary character. So let's say the scout's killed. And who is he killed by? What is he killed by? Is he killed by a berserk robot? I was thinking it could be a group of slavers or warlords. Slavers or warlords. So the hunters become the hunted, right? They get hunted. And they have to adapt by escaping, or maybe even fighting off a small contingent. We gotta leave the real villain open. A real villain must survive to make this kind of story work, because it can't be like, oh great, the bandits attacked but you killed them all. That's the end of the story. Because we got 4 more sections of the cycle to get to, right? So they have to get what they wanted. They escape to a new area. How about that? In the ruins. Maybe it's an underground area. Underground. Maybe. Or, someplace, a museum, someplace interesting. They pay a heavy price. I'm going to put monsters or traps. Maybe there's a security robot roaming the grounds of the museum or something. And then we have them return to familiarity, right? Does this mean we return them to the village? Well, we could, we could put them back on the gathering mission, but there's having changed. I think that we have to kill off a character. Kill off 1 to 3 characters. There has to be one survivor at least, but there must be a real danger here, paying a heavy price. It does say a heavy price, right? And then we return to familiarity, having changed. So the familiarity might be the survivor returns. And has, I don't know, I'm going to make this up, some totem of the dead companions. Like maybe they have some kind of totem that they wear. Like let's go back to our tree guy. Let's say they each have something special that's just them. And it can't be just the flint dagger, because I think I'm going to give them all flint daggers. Each one has something special. Let's make it all different. So maybe Zug has a totem mask. That he always wears. And we just add that to his the stuff he has. Well, Sekmail, who is our mutant with bright red skin, he's got a water skin, he's got a spear, a bone club, he's got paints and dyes, right? So maybe he's got something that he can use as paints and dyes as. I was thinking like a shield, or even just like a spray paint can, like he tags things as he's kind of going through. And then this guy, it's definitely his magic rock, right? That he wears on a necklace or something. That's his magnet. Maybe he's got the magnet on like a thong that he wears around his neck. This first guy, Krogon, he's our pure strain human. He's pure. He might end up being the hero of the story. He's got 4 hit points, and he's got a fur cloak that's different from everybody else. But look, it also has large shiny trinket worth like 100 credits. So what could this large shiny trinket be, and how does he carry it around, right? It's got to be something that he can actually carry efficiently while hunting, you know. So this has to be something. What would that be? I have to think about it. How much of a large trinket could it be? Maybe it's a jewel or something, a jeweled item. I don't know, is that useful in the mutant apocalypse or something? Let me think. Oh, how about this? You know, he's got a backpack. So he's got a robot head that he carries around. Large shiny trinket. So he's got this sort of polished robot head or whatever. And you know, depending on who wins the day here, you know, maybe it gets turned into a helmet or something else. I got to figure out what to do with that one. We'll think about that one. But anyhow, that's the beginning of what you do. So at this point, you've got a whole outline of your story, and now you got to start thinking about how you're going to put that into pages and panels, and then each panel also has to be important. Now this video is it's not advanced enough to where we can actually start talking about composition, and there are whole there's whole books written on composition and narrativism, and you know how to put all that stuff together. But this at least gives you an idea how you can you know, take something like a game and use it to come up with an idea, you know, for your comic. And you don't need other players or anything like that. You don't even really need to follow the rules in any particular way. You just be inspired by them and look through them. Oh, look, this is my old Heroes of Tomorrow book. Quite fun. This is for creating these crazily generated characters by Paul Jacques. All right. Talk to you later. Like, follow, subscribe. This was our first VOLEHAMMER video, and there will be more. We'll do some actual world building, and I'll show you how to break this into, or how I'm going to break this story into pages, at least outlines. And we may even do some thumbnailing, although I'm kind of under the gun here for Rabbit Fighter. Speaking of post-apocalyptic comics action, also stay tuned for that. So we're going to be we will also, whoops, Face ID, come on, look at me. There it is. No? There we go. We will also be doing some inking of this page right here. Whoops, you can't see it because it's so bright. But there it is. We'll do some inking of this page right here. So like, follow, subscribe, and I will see you later. So let me see, where's my, there they are, right here.